This meeting is being recorded. All right. Welcome, everyone, to a panel discussion about episode 1 of I've Been Waiting. Episode 1 is called Listen to Us, which was an incredible part 1. There will be 2 more parts. This is just wonderful to be here to talk to these amazing women, Tonya Dorsey-Dews and Ashley Thompson, who were the stars of episode 1. My name is Robyne Walker Murphy. I am a nonprofit leader. I'm an artist and a cultural curator. I live in Brooklyn, New York. My pronouns are she, her, but I am from Cincinnati, Ohio. And so I was honored when I was asked to lead this panel about medical racism as it pertains to Black women in particular. It was such an honor. And I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful stars to introduce themselves. And then we're going to get into a conversation about episode 1, Listen to Us. So I will turn it over to you, Tonya. Tell the people who you are.
Hello, my name is Tonya Dorsey-Dews. I am an educator, been an educator for 25 plus years in the western southern parts of Dallas. Married, 2 kids. Uh, Honored to have this opportunity to share my mother's story.
Thank you, Ashley.
Yes, my name is Ashley Thompson, and I am a Dallas native. I am a lupus warrior and in my real life, a social media manager for a billion-dollar industry leader here in Dallas.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Tonya. And I also am a lupus warrior as well. So there are so many things in the stories. I was like, oh, it's not just me that's feeling like this. I was like, we'll talk about that later. But Tonya, I want to start out with you because you start out this episode, like your voice is the voice that we hear, talking about your mother. And it's clear that you are having an emotional experience when you're talking about what's going through. What does telling her story kind of bring up for you?
It brings up I'm able to be her voice. Where going to those doctor visits and her feeling like she was never heard, or what she was feeling was validated or anything. And you know this allowed me to be her voice, to speak, not only just for her, but for, I'm sure, millions of other African American females, um, who were going through that. um, I recently had to take a trip to the emergency room, and it brought back some of those feelings of the things that my mother had shared with me, some of the things that she was experiencing. When you have a voice and you're trying to express, and you feel like no one is hearing you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You did an amazing job speaking for your mother. I just felt it. I felt it in my spirit. And actually, as a lupus warrior, when did you know something wasn't right? What tipped you off, that something's not right here?
Yeah. I was about 23, I think. And I was all in. I just got a new job and we were processing documents for the state of Texas, right? So one thing about me is I love being involved in my job. And I started feeling like I was being pulled away in a way I couldn't explain. My attention, my mind, my time, my energy, it was somewhere else. And like I felt maybe always tired, always I don't know, just Like I was dragging my body with me, you know? I don't know what it was, but I was always tired. And I was in college at the time, and I thought that's just the rigmarole of the everyday. And my grandmother died. When my grandmother died, that did it. That went ahead and just took me right on out. I started digging into my own skin. So I had an itch, just a regular itch, like just I had an itch. And I started digging into my skin, and it turned into something else. Like I never seen my skin do that. And I ran to the doctor. And unfortunately, that experience showed me all I needed to know. I didn't know because, again, I was in my 20s and I just ran to the doctor. I could take a family member, anyone with me. I ran to the doctor, and this doctor was at a teaching school. Well, at teaching schools, do you know what they are doing?
What are they doing, Ashley?
They are bringing in every student to learn of whatever the curriculum is. But if they get a patient in there that they've never seen, that it's something crazy, we don't normally see this, you won't get a chance to see this again, come see. And she showed everyone what I was going through. And I was mortified. I was in there like a zoo animal. And everyone was coming in there to see what was on my skin. I was mortified. Now that's more than you asked me for, but that was the biggest impression that this experience had given me, and it was my first experience with lupus.
It's like you became this experiment.
I did.
And that just made me think about, I mean, there's so much to think about, but just the history of enslaved women being experimented on. Mm-hmm. And then you're going through your own emotions around it while also being a specimen.
Mm-hmm. Well, also trying I'm also trying to get the information I need too. So that's something else. So that's a distraction when this is the very first time that I've learned of this. When I brought it back to my family, they were like, oh my gosh, she has the cancer. And it's because we don't know what this is, right? It's just, I don't know. Anything we had heard of lupus before we actually got it was just an old sick Black woman on a movie. Like really think about that, you know? It's one of the illnesses we don't talk about, but Mama got it. You know what I'm saying? Like there was
Tonya, I feel like you want to get in there.
Please, Tonya.
I do, because the thing that popped up in as I spoke in the documentary is you became part of the curriculum, but I'm quite sure they charged your insurance full price and used you to help teach others where they made money off of. And I'm sorry, but that just pops up, you know. And when you talk about the skin thing, and I remember when my mother had wept up, like somebody had actually taken a whelp, and she went to the doctor, and I'm like, okay, what's wrong? Because this is not normal. You know, I'm thinking that she has the lupus that deteriorates the joints. And then another family member get diagnosed with the lupus that does the skin rashes. But then all of a sudden, that's going back and forth to the lupus aspect. Okay, so if she does have it, if she doesn't have it, now she's weaping up and looking like somebody has literally taken a whip and swiped her across her chest. And it was like, it's just so much. And I'm so glad we're having this discussion.
I am. We're jumping right in talking about lupus because all three of us have a deep relationship with this. I want to be mindful that people watching this may still be like, what is lupus? Who wants to take that on? I feel like, who wants to give a definition of what is lupus? Ashley, you seem like you want to get in there.
So I want to be honest. I still want to hear Miss Dorsey-Dews version after mine, because Robin, I'd love to hear yours too, because we both, all of us can admit.
Let's take it. We'll all three. Okay, everybody. All three of us are going to.
No,
All three of us going to take a crack at this.
right. And even our producer, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, his mother too. And he had
Yes,
his
that's
own
Rosa.
as a child of someone. Like, I'm sure we all have different versions of what this actually is.
Well, how would you describe it, Ashley?
And thank you so much for asking, because I've practiced, if you will, because people don't know what it is. And so my body attacks itself based on different variables of the day. Maybe the sun shone too bright today. Maybe the wind was too rough. Maybe, I don't know, a fibrous vegetable didn't like me. And then my body decided to attack itself. So lupus is the act of your body attacking itself in various ways according to how your body wants to attack you. Currently, my body has been attacked in my skin, in my immune system, and in my brain.
That's beautiful. Tonya, how would you describe it?
Well, Google says that it's an inflammatory disease that is caused when your immune system attacks your own tissues, such as your joints, your skin, your kidneys, blood cells, brain, heart, and lungs. My first experience, and the more and more we talk about it every day, that every time we talk about it, I think about something else or my association with someone who has had lupus. My first knowledge of what lupus was, and like Ash said, we don't talk about it in the African American community. My first knowledge of ever hearing the word lupus was in 20, maybe 2000. And a young lady I knew had a baby, and all of a sudden she couldn't move her limbs, and they diagnosed her with lupus. And she's still alive, but she's confined to a wheelchair. And then my mother, she she was at work, and worked for a telephone company, and just walking into the building, and just her knees gave out. And it was like, she called and she said she was so embarrassed that she fell. And I was like, there's nothing, you're not the first or the last person to have fallen. But she was like, no, it was different this time. It was like I was just walking and my knees just gave out.
So it was attacking the joints?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like, I'm glad you shared the Google definition, because I mean, I just like my body don't like me. That's not a Google definition. It's like it
Yeah.
just attacks things, and then so according to the morethanlupus.com, like 1 in 250 African American women will develop lupus. And you're thinking about the medical racism that is talked about so much in this documentary. What do you think the relationship is between racism and the difficulty of getting a lupus diagnosis for Black women? How do those things relate to each other?
I'm trying to choose my words, because to me, like I said, I recently had to go to the hospital sick, and the you get looked at when you're a certain size. As African American women, we're looked at, because I'm looking at I was paying attention after I got to the emergency room, and I'm not going to put the hospital out there. Majority of everybody in there was African American, and they were running people in, I mean, back there so quick. I was like, is anybody really listening? Is anybody really listening to, you know, to what we're saying? It's, I'm just looking at the females. And I think the perception for me to go to a hospital, that means I'm about to die because there's something I don't. And I think as African American women, we're often looked at, we're strong individuals, or and for an African American female to come to the hospital and say, "Oh, my knee hurts," or "My joints hurt," oh, or we're trying to seek attention, or maybe she's uh something else is going on and this is just the underlying, or we can even go a step further. Oh, she's trying to get drugs. It's everything derogatory instead of
All of
just,
those stereotypes come. And one of the things you
yeah,
said, like, is anybody listening? Which is
yeah.
so, it's so, interesting, because that's the name of this, pretty much Listen to Us. Ashley, like, what's your response to that question?
Yeah. So I'm in a weird position where God bless his heart, his soul, and all the things that he continues to do. But my
Amen.
rheumatologist is an Asian. And this man has saved my life. And when I was first diagnosed, I don't know if it's because he's young or thorough, whatever it is, he sent me to his mentor. His
Mm.
mentor is not in my community or his. His mentor promptly told me and my mother that I need to calm down. This is akin to psoriasis. Find a cream and get back to work. Now, my doctor said, okay, I wanted to see what his opinion was. We won't visit him again. And went on to treat me perfectly fine. The mentor doctor, however, put me on methotrexate. That's typically for someone who's had a transplant. He continued giving me this really harsh medication. I lost 80% of my hair. Black woman? If you know a black woman, like, I was deteriorating. And I didn't know what to do. So by the grace of God, and I can only continue giving it to him, this doctor, my Asian doctor, would call me, hey, trying to see how you feeling today. When you took the medicine, what did you think? Like, on my cell phone from his cell phone.
That's a blessing.
He didn't have to do that. He does not have to do that.
But that's what we want everyone to be able to do.
But let me tell you this. What if I had bypassed him? He sent me to somebody else. Why did he send me to somebody else? He must not know what he's doing.
Right.
Whatever it is. And I stayed with the second doctor. And I took what he said. You not sick. Find some cream. Rub it down. You be all right.
And you all spoke to that in the documentary about sometimes the fear people have of questioning, like authority, or this is the doctor, they know. And then you talked about, like, look, I don't have to be treated poorly here. And this brings me to my question. When people watch this documentary, what impact do you hope it has on people?
For me, I want people to realize you have a voice. And if you feel like you're not being treated right, speak up. And even from doing this, I've learned to speak up, because it's sometimes I can be boisterous and then sometimes I can be shy. Um, but going through this experience, and even when it comes to my health, I'm learning to speak up. I'm learning. Oh no, you're not just gonna push me out of here so that you can make your insurance quota of the day. Um, I'm Yeah, I'm having that kind of dialogue. And
I love it.
if you can't hear me, it shouldn't, if I call and I'm trying to make a doctor's appointment and I'm having to the runaround. No, you're not the one for me. I need somebody that's gonna respect me as a patient and value me. And if it means that I have to sit up here and go to somebody else 3 or 4 times, I will be heard.
I love that. Ashley, what about you? What impact do you hope this has?
She's absolutely right that they continue to challenge anyone who doesn't allow them to use their voice. I can't tell you the amount of times that my husband has had to say, hey, stop sticking her. If you can't get the blood the first time, find somebody else who can do it. But you're not going to keep jamming needles in her arm. Like, you have to push back because you only get one body. It's one of them. And this bad boy already trying to fail you. So you have to continue asking questions. That's your right to. And I'm so sorry, doctor. You said you wanted me to take this pill 3 times a day. Okay. I realize that after I've taken it twice, it really is doing a number on me. Is there an opportunity for us to lower the dosage count? What happens if we decide to remove ourselves from this medication? Is there anything I could do in food? I've learned that I was able to take a gut intelligence test. And while it's a bit pricey, I know what, like, scientifically I need to eat and what I don't. And like, was that information available before? Do doctors know that I can eat according
A
to
gut intelligence test, is that something you had to seek out on your own? And how do people get that? How do people get that?
There is a side organization. I'm not gonna promote people for free, but
Okay,
I will
right.
send it to you. I will send it to everybody on this call. But there's an organization that allows you to, via mail order, submit your own specimen.
Y'all look it up on your own. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can submit your own specimen. They'll do blood in a different type. You can use your imagination there, and you send it in, and the lab results test it. While you're waiting for the testing, though, you're filling out these questionnaires. Do you have an autoimmune disease? Do you have a family history of this? But I was able to pinpoint, healthy foods for me, superfoods for me, versus what I should not be eating at all. You guys already know, as lupus warriors, there are certain nightshade vegetables we don't eat. I don't eat anything white, right? That's probably going to be real starchy, sugary, sticky, and hurting in my bone tomorrow. So there's so many things that, say for rice, sorry, I'm Cajun, I will be eating the rice. But outside of that, there's just different things that you can do on your own. And so when Ms. Dorsey-Dews says, continue speaking up, yes, but continue researching too.
I love the speaking up, the researching, the asking questions when you talked about like having the notebook at the doctor's office. Like I have an aunt that, she does that. You can see some doctors get annoyed. I definitely have seen what Jamie talked about, being on speakerphone at her mom's appointment. I've been that person, and you can see the annoyance on some of these doctors' faces. And I think there's some ways in which racism even impacts the way that we feel about making someone else feel uncomfortable or being seen as the aggressive Black woman, which you all spoke about. I want to shift a little bit to talking about, there's a lot of conversations that we're having about trust issues externally, like with the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
Do you trust your body?
Wow.
Some days yes, some days no.
That's so interesting. I do. I don't know if it's an internal, I don't know what is going on, but I know when I've had enough. I feel it. I feel it. I had a call after this I was supposed to have. I let them know 6 o'clock this morning, hey friend. Because you have to know your limits. You know, when I first got diagnosed, really quick, when I first got diagnosed, I heard this phrase a lot called the spoons, right? And it
Wait,
explains,
repeat that, please. We call
yes,
what?
I call it the spoons, right?
The
And it's like,
spoons, the spoons.
yes,
Yes.
right? It'd be like spoony life or spoon life, right? And people would talk about the spoons. And when I finally looked into it, it made so much sense. And so for anyone listening, right, you can consider lupus as someone who has a cup of spoons. And let's say there are 4 spoons in this cup, right? Think of that spoon, each spoon, as a task or something I have to achieve that day. I only have 4 spoons. And today I had to make breakfast for my husband. I had to go to work. I had to take a shower and do my hair to go to work. Right? No. I still haven't stopped and gotten any food because I need to be nourished throughout the day. I'm out of spoons, right? That's our day today. How do I best use my spoons?
But even that, Ashley, like that's so powerful for you because the way that I relate this trusting your body also to racism is, and this is what's been embedded within me of just like, don't be lazy. You don't want to be lazy. And so sometimes when I'm tired, I'm like, am I tired because of lupus or I'm just being lazy? Like I have that in my mind. And so it's like, no, it's not lupus. I just need to go like that whole superwoman. I got to keep going. I got to keep going. And it takes a while just to be like, no, you need to stop. You need to lie down and not care that you can't be 100% at the job or 100%. It's like that other voice that said, don't be a lazy Black woman. You got to go over here and prove to people at the job you could do all this. And that's when I wonder, am I sick? Like, am I sick? Because people, if you don't look sick, especially with lupus, you don't look sick.
You got another hour.
We heard that.
You got another hour for that?
Yeah. You don't look sick, so you're seeking attention. And that's why it goes to why I said yes and no. Because I'm always on the go, always going. And then my body will say, okay, it's time for you to sit your behind down. And it's like, no, I can, something else is saying, you could go ahead and do this, then you'll sit down. And then I do that. And then I was like, but I need to get this taken care of. And if I don't get this taken care of, then I'm gonna have, it'll be double or it'll be something else or somebody gonna have something to say. And it's like, and I think that's just with African American women, period. We're always in a position where we're constantly going and doing and trying to be superwoman, trying to take care of every single body else, that when our body does talk to us and say, okay, I'm warning you, sit your tail down. It was like, let me do one more thing. Let me just get
Did
this
it
one
break
more thing.
down? Then you in the bed. Then you
in the hospital.
Yeah.
There was that episode of Braxton Family Values. And I always kind of replay it sometimes. And they're just like, Tony Braxton has lupus. And her sisters are complaining, like, they're not thinking about lupus, right? They're just like, oh, every time we go someplace, you're always in the hotel. You never come out and this. And then finally she gets so frustrated, excuse me, EJ, because she's like, a bitch got lupus. I was just like, and then I felt that. I was like, she just was hearing like, oh, they were interpreting it as like, you don't want to be with us. You want to be, and she's just like, did you all forget? Hello, I have lupus. I have a very supportive husband and family, and they're very supportive. But I'm curious, like, how do your families and friends relate to lupus in your life or other medical things that you're going on? What's your support system like? Or do people not understand sometimes?
Well, let me watch my words because I know they watching. I have to be real. Everyone has understanding until you have to inconvenience them. And like, I'm not mad at nobody. I'm just saying. Everyone
speaking the truth.
you know? And so I try to remind people I'm hell when I'm well, but I'm sick. So if you want the best version of Ash, you're going to have to bear with me. And, you know, there's lots of comments, you know, how does it feel? What happens? Or I'm often told how unavailable I am. But, you know, again, because God is good, I have a really amazing husband who will remind me that if I leave him on this earth without me, he'll be really sad. And so I prioritize that. You know, I don't want to live without him. So I can only make sure that I do what I can so that he does not have to live without me. And I continue to put that first. Hey, I know I said I was gonna do that. Can you send a virtual link by chance? No. Okay. What's our options? Okay, listen, I'm looking at my November right now, and it's already booked. I had 2 events I could do that month. I'm so sorry. I won't be
I'm
able to.
learning from Ash. I'm like writing
Won't be
down.
able to make it to Little JoJo's. I'm not going to be able to go to that fundraiser. Yes. Can I send some money by chance? I can't. Okay, thank you. Okay.
I love the way you position yourself in these conversations.
I'm really being honest because I'm just one me, and I'm tired. I have 2 lupuses. I have systemic and discoid. I am a stroke survivor. And after you've had a stroke, you prioritize what you can. And it's still hard. I hate disappointing people. I am a people pleaser. I want everybody to love me. And because I can't, I deal with it on the day to day. Here's the hope that you understand. I'm really sorry. I will really apologize and try to make it up to you. But this body will fail me. And if I push it anymore, it will die on me. What are you going to do if I die? And that's what I tell people.
Woo, I'm writing it down. Tonya, what about you? Relationships with your families, friends?
You know, seeing the back story to losing my mother. We celebrated my mother's birthday on a Saturday, and Monday I got a phone call saying that my mother was not responsive. And to see life from one day and it's gone the next day, it taught me. Well, I sunk into a depression. I'm truthful about my story. Can nobody tell it but me? I for 2 years I've been in a depression state of what's now, what happens now, because my purpose was making sure my mother didn't want for anything. Whatever I could do, I tried to do, just whatever. And then to lose my mom, I'm like, what now? And so then going through that, I became dealt with some anxiety. Any little ache, do I have lupus? Am I about to have a heart attack? Then I went from being functional, where day to day I'm going to work, coming home, sitting in the recliner until my husband say, "Come to bed." I was functional. Then, as I slowly got myself out of it, I was like, I don't want to be in that state anymore because that's not living. My mother would not want me to be in that state, not mentally, emotionally, none of it. And as I started coming out of it, I started to reevaluate me. I turned 53, and it was like, I don't know when is my time. You know, we have a time to be born, a time to die. And I made up in my mind, I'm putting Tonya first. I've got to put me first. I'm gonna do what I can do. I'm gonna do what I want to do. And if I don't want to do it, now I have no problem saying ain't, no, not today, maybe next time, or I'm just not going to do it. because I don't want to. I've in 2008, I'm walking around. I've had a heart attack. Didn't even know I've had a heart attack. It just so I was feeling bad. Went to my doctor, did the EKG, and he was like, "You've had a heart attack." When did I have a heart attack? Because I missed it, and it was like 2008. Blood pressure drops to 60/30, and the got rushed to the hospital. And the lady doctor, she said, you need to find out what your purpose is, because people who blood pressure drops to that, they don't come back. And so, and I'm thinking and I'm evaluating all these bumps that I've had. I can't continue to sit up here and put everybody before me. Because when I'm gone, what? I don't have any grandkids. I would like to see my grandkids one day. I'm not going to be the kind of grandmama that take over and babysit all the time. But it's things in life I want to do. My husband, we went last year, we just went to New York for Valentine's Day. I want to do, I have some more traveling to do. I have some more shopping to do. I want to live.
And this film, like this, when you talk about like what's your purpose, and for both of you, like so many people just are gonna bear witness to your stories, right? Through this, like the amount of people that you all are gonna help. Like I was just watching it, I watched it twice, but it was helping me. You know what I mean? It's just me. It hasn't even been released yet. And that question of like, what is the purpose? What is my purpose? This piece is just going to bless so many people. I mean, to God be the glory that you're still here. But I just wanted to also say, I have a couple of more questions for y'all, because I know we all need to rest. We're talking about rest. Because this piece around the different kinds of lupus that you had, like you talked about. Oh no, I want to talk about the surgeries. You all talked about that in the documentary. How quickly this is like, we go to surgery. You all said that again. I was like, so that's what happened to me. Like I went to the doctor. Supposedly I had like gallstones, and the Black nurse was like, oh, the doctor's gonna come in. He's gonna like run a couple of more tests on you first, and then he'll, decide whether or not he has surgery. I was like, oh, okay. So I'm sitting there. This man came in there. He grabbed my paperwork, and he was like, we're gonna schedule you for surgery. And the Black nurse looked at me like, I was looking at her like, I thought you said, and she's looking like this, and then she trying to play it off like this ain't really normal. And I was like, okay. I mean, I had to slow it down. What? Turn out, I got a second opinion, y'all. I ain't have no gallstones. The point being, he literally walked in. He barely even, I don't think he even knew my name, and just saw the paper and was just, so when you all said that, I was like, wow, that almost happened to me. So so you all experienced this, like go straight to surgery
all the time. Please go ahead.
No, I've seen it through others. I'm one of those people. If you say I need surgery, first of all, I'm gonna say what hospital. Secondly, I need to. You gonna have to show me on the film what's wrong, because certain hospitals.
You got some more questions,
right?
Ashley, this has happened to you?
So it happens in a different way. So you guys know with lupus, we get a lot of inflammation. Before all of my good diagnosing, right? We were just going through the rigmarole, trying to understand. And I went to the hospital. My head was hurting really bad. I didn't know inflammation could sit between the brain and the skull, right? I didn't know. And so I was not eating correctly at the time. I was about 60 pounds heavier. And so with real honesty, I was a stress eater and I was stressed out. So I was doing what I thought I needed to do to cope. But I get to the hospital and they just do an MRI real quick because like my brain hurts so bad, right? This man has told my mother in the hallway she has cancer. It's all over her head. We need to go see right now. Like we need to see what is going on. My mama said, hold on real quick. You're not going to go in this room and tell my child she has cancer all over her head. Now, sure, looking at the x-rays, there looks like a lot of white spots everywhere, right? But like, we don't determine that's cancer by looking at it. We got to do a little bit more research, testing, and understanding before we just open up somebody's head to see what's going on there. And because my parents stopped them, they were able to do a lot more testing. And so the testing they ended up with is something called an angiogram, in which they ran, they've done it twice actually, one in my hip and one in my wrist, in which they run a camera up there to get a closer look of what's going on in your brain. So to like put me to sleep for a few minutes and then woke me up while I'm on the actual table, right? To get a good picture of my brain, like woke me up. So like, hey, you're fully alert. We're gonna take a picture of your brain. And then they got a better vision of what was going on. And they found it was just inflammation. But it can go from 0 to 100 really quick if you're not asking the question. And I mean, we've been saying it a lot, but doesn't it seem like you need to make sure that they know what they're talking about in regards to you?
That was 0 to 1,000. That was all that. And the fear that your mother must have felt. So if there's anything that, as folks are watching the documentary and watching this panel, ask questions, advocate for yourself. And I will say, as also someone who's a people pleaser, know that you may not feel comfortable asking questions. It may feel uncomfortable, and that's okay. Yeah. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to feel great. Like, if you are someone and it makes you feel uncomfortable, you're going to feel uncomfortable. But you're going to be all right feeling uncomfortable. You'd rather feel uncomfortable asking the question than sit up there and having surgeries on your brain and stuff like that, and people telling you. So ask the questions, advocate for yourself, do the research before you get to the doctor. That's what I was listening to you on. Also change the eating habits. If Jamie were here, I'm like, look what you growing in your garden. What's going to grow in your right? Because the doctor, I mean, even with lupus, there's so many different types. For me, it affects my skin and it affects my joints. So I didn't know that people weren't in pain all the time. Literally, maybe like 5 years ago, when I asked Tarek is my husband, I was like, well, don't you just have pain? Like, don't you just he was like, no, I don't walk around it. It's so I now know I've had lupus longer than I thought I did. I just accepted pain as like everybody has a piercing, something in your thigh, you know what I mean? Or everybody has. He's like, no, everybody doesn't have that. And so I had also, for my hair was just coming out of my hands, And so, of course, like you said, the hair with Black women, when I went to my doctor, I was just devastated. That's when I finally, they were like, okay, before they were telling me I had undifferentiated connective tissue disease. And then once I got scarlet alopecia, which is when like your hair follicles, just like, things just burnt out, like just gone. They were like, okay, you have lupus. And I was just crying in the doctor's office because it was devastating to me. He was like, look, I got people in here who have kidney failure. So I understand that he was trying to put it in perspective. And then I felt bad, like, you're right. My kidneys haven't failed. I'm like, what am I crying about? You know what I mean? So, but also, when I get older, I'm just like, no, but that's not, I had a right.
I'm so sorry, Robyne. I am not trying to cut you off, but I think your doctor was inappropriate. I don't care what I got going on. I don't care if somebody's, I don't know, toe is hanging off. I still need to be prioritized. And I really mean that. Because what are you playing? Deciding the lesser pains? Did you get what I'm saying? No. I don't care. That might be the biggest thing for me right then. And you need to tend to it as if it is. I don't care. I don't. I don't. Because you're not gonna care about anything but if you got paid. And so since we're respecting things, can you respect my time like you want your bill paid?
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt when you said that. Please. I was like, I wanted to some of my coworkers call me Mama Dews because I was supposed to say out to the hell now. No. That's a no. That's a hell no. Now I understand we all have our issues, we all have our walk in life, but you're not gonna play me to make it seem like I can't be emotional. I shouldn't feel anything because oh, I have lupus. I don't know what lupus is. You're just telling me I have lupus and I shouldn't be crying. What the hell? No. Yeah, somebody got cancer. My husband had stage 4 kidney disease, and I'm walking the walk with him. But he's not going to come in here and say, well, baby, yeah, the doctor said you got a respiratory infection, and we don't know which way it's going. He's not going to downplay what I'm going through because he has kidney disease. And so, for an insensitive doctor, my facial expression wants to say something else, want to say you shouldn't cry. No, that's the problem. We should show emotions. We should speak up. If we feel like crying, cry. That's it. We're told not to cry. We should suppress what we're feeling. No, no, we've suppressed long enough. We've sat back and okay, yes, okay. If you feel that that's it, no, no, just no.
I thank you all for affirming me. I just that listening, I'm saying this, listening to the documentary yesterday, it brought up, and I'm sure it's gonna bring up for a lot of folks, because some of these conversations you all were bringing up, I thought that was just me, or I was like, oh, that's what was happening to me. Like just when you were talking about the feeling like an experiment, and they had the medical students, and like I didn't realize that I got pregnant after I was diagnosed with lupus, and it didn't occur to me that lupus attacks what it thinks is foreign,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So a fetus, it attacks it, and I didn't realize that, and I went to the doctor because I had some spotting, and there was the student day was the day. Don't you know they had all these students in here? I'm laying here trying to figure out like, oh, what was going on with my baby or whatever. And they had the student do the ultrasound, and the student's face, like her eyes just got really big because she saw that there was nothing there. So there's this student and all these, and the screen isn't facing me, it's facing all of them. So I'm looking at their reactions to the fact that there was just an empty sack there. Right. So when you said that about that experiment and they're using these students or whatever, I understand they have to do that. It brought me
But
back.
ask me first.
Say that again.
Ask me. My thing of it. Ask me first. Ask me if I want to share my journey with
Mm.
your students.
I would agree. I think also, why did you have your student do my ultrasound? And like, I'm okay. I understand a teaching school. Are we operating in wisdom though? For the first time, I'm in here asking you questions about myself because I need an answer. And you put the student in charge of providing the information to an extent. I know the doctor was in the room, but this isn't time to practice. They need to practice another time. Like
Yes.
I don't know if anyone is listening and you hear something out of a doctor's mouth that you would question because you wouldn't say it, it made you feel uncomfortable. The doctor has a boss. I'm here to tell you, and maybe that's my purpose. The doctor has a boss.
The doctor has a boss, y'all. How do you get to that boss, Ash?
I'm telling you, I know that sounds crazy, but the doctor reports up to someone. They sit on a board, somebody they answer to.
The board of controls every hospital has a board of control.
Thank you. And you petition them. Hey, this is what was said to me. How do you feel about it? And then you sit back. Because you don't have to accept that. You don't. and fine.
Because they could have been handled so differently. Because the doctor actually should have examined you first, then decide whether or not and communicate it to you, but
Mm,
and see what your emotional state would have been before allowing these other people. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't be exposed to this, but listen to the patient, take the patient in consideration first, other than you're sitting up here just trying to produce another doctor, and you don't know what kind of mental state that doctor is in. Because just like the girl did the sonogram, she hadn't even been schooled enough to sit up here and let her know that nonverbal communication is a real thing. So you
come on,
look
somebody.
at her facial expression and everybody else in that room, that could have triggered something else in you. And then they could have been sitting up here trying to put the patches and bring you back. So all of that stuff, people need to start thinking about that.
Mm,
Mhm.
mm,
I love that you said that you all talked about like, and then you said, Tanya, like ask first, right? Like when
Mhm.
you, like there's this like consent that should be happening.
mhm.
Yes.
You all just like have so many incredible gems. And um, as we close, I would love to hear from you all. Like we talked about like what impact that you all hope this will have. And I'm curious if you could give all the rest of us like one thing to try differently the next time we see our doctor. If there were one thing you're like, try this one thing,
Mm.
what would that be?
One thing,
I know you all have many, but if it's
right?
just one for baby steps for people.
Mm. I'm glad you just said baby steps. So I want to, the very first baby step. Hi, my name is Ashley, and I want to be a patient here. Do you have any lupus patients? Can you tell me about your experience with lupus?
Wow. So
Like,
asking,
I'm not taking a chance on you. You ain't never talked to nobody with lupus. You ain't never treated nobody with lupus. We good. I'm okay. It's not,
Hmm.
I'm, we're not starting out with the experiment. So, hi, interested in you treating me. Need a rheumatologist. Looking for a hematologist. Some of us got to see oncologists, whatever it is. Do you have any
Mm.
experience with my disease?
oh, I think we just assume they do. I like that. And we can't make that assumption.
Oh, yeah.
Nowadays, you can
So,
make an assumption on anything.
no, like you can start with any question.
I
And
love
Yeah.
that. Ask the question, do you have any experience dealing with lupus patients? And also just like, I would like to, this is my name. I'm interviewing you because they just come in high,
you're gonna have to pay
what
them.
hurts?
Don't you pay somebody for a good job?
Yeah, yeah. What
I
about
really
That's
you?
true.
What about you, Tanya? What baby step would you, based on your experience, the experience you had with your mom, like what would you suggest for when they have a doctor's appointment coming up? Like what should they do differently or try?
Um, I'm advocating for self. I'm going to see a new doctor in 2 weeks, and trying something different. Hadn't had the best experience with female doctors.
Mm,
Um, um, I'm not gonna say female doctors that don't look like me.
mm.
So I'm gonna use Ash question, and my question will be, because we think anybody that's has a uh, that's plus size, all we do is eat fried chicken and pork chops all day,
chitterlings.
yeah, and chitlins. And I have to let them know I'm collard greens and cornbread kind of girl. So, but and turkey. Um, but what is their input? Their outlook on obesity. Because
Mm.
every person that's not obese, it's not obese because they eating the wrong foods.
That's true.
Oh, Yes, I think that's a
So
great question.
That's a great question.
And listen, really listen to her response.
oh
Really listen.
No, because like I don't please don't play me. It's my body again. My one
yeah.
body.
But wait. So what if, because I know I'm probably going to be in this situation, then we really going to wrap up, I promise. You get the bad vibe. Did they come in? The vibe is wrong. The answer is wrong. They're wrong. It just feels wrong.
You see
What
this
do
finger,
you do in that moment?
this finger works in the church, don't it?
Yes.
You hold that finger up and you grab your purse and you say, excuse
Oh,
me.
y'all talking about leaving on the spot. Y'all leaving on the spot?
Right, because
Why?
I don't have time.
What am I saying for?
Kill me.
Everybody hear that? Because I would say, I know some people, some people could be me. But it may be like, I'll just do this visit and then I just won't come back. So you are advocating like, jump up right now, like, and be like, deuces, I'm out. We're done here.
And honestly,
life is too short. So if you can't give me and take care of me the way I need, why am I gonna sit up here and put energy into somebody? You're taking minutes, seconds away from my life. So it's no sense of me sitting here. It's no sense of me giving you my copay. It's no sense of me allowing to go get blood drawn and stuff. And you're not going to even look at it anyway because you're already going to assume that I don't know what the heck is wrong with my body because I'm not listening. So if you don't have any experience with dealing with people that's plus size, why am I going to entertain you? So we're going to do the finger and we're going to, excuse me, and we're going to go. And I'm doing this for me. This is the new me. I'm not going to say where I go to the doctor at, but in this doctor's office, it's 3 doctors. You strike one. Let's see what the other 2 can do. It's gonna be a home run, or it's gonna be 2 more strikes, and I'm gonna have to go somewhere else.
You have to go to a new team. What about you, Ashley? So you condone, just get up.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have had to do it. I can't sit here because what if I start believing you and it's wrong information? No, I gotta go. I gotta go. Unfortunately, you're not gonna be able to serve me well. And so I'm a little mouthy, so I probably say something before I walk out the door. But
it's so key.
But like unfortunately, you're not able to serve me well, and I have to go. Do you have any referrals? Do you have any Black doctors? I will ask for a Black doctor. Quick! I will, because I just believe that my Caucasian brothers and sisters have some friends in the medical field that look like me. So, hey, Dr. So-and-so, do you have a brother doctor, a sister doctor that is in this one field by chance? I ask all of my doctors for referrals to somewhere else. And I don't care if you treating my foot. I will ask you about the arm doctor. I don't care if you're treating my arm. I'll ask you about the head doctor. I don't care. But y'all professionals, and I know y'all know some other professionals. And so I ask the doctors for a referral.
See, this getting up is just so, as you were saying, I was like, you get up. And then I took a moment while you were talking, and there are some very important people in my life that would either still be here or would have been here longer if they had done that.
You have to. You have to. Life, going through losing my mother has taught me life is too short. And I just refuse to continue to suppress what I'm feeling and be passive aggressive. No more. Because when it comes to the insurance, if I don't pay you, you're gonna sit up here and have them bill collectors calling me twice a day, asking for your little high $35 copay. No. So I have the right to sit up here and say yes or no. I have the right to sit up here and say, this is what I'm feeling. Is it wrong?
No.
I don't think that just because I turned 53, my knee should be popping every time I move.
No. No. Ashley, do you have anything to say to close us out?
I want to give you one thing, Robin, because I think you'll like this. Last week, I was trying to see the rheumatologist, and the front office told me that he was booked. I said, okay, great. Will you do me a favor? Tell Dr. So-and-so, because I don't want y'all going to get my good doctor. Tell Dr. So-and-so that it's Ashley Thompson on the phone and that she's requesting to see him. Can you let me know what he says? I called on a Monday. He saw me on Wednesday.
You got me coughing.
No,
Really?
and I know that sounds wild, but again, he is a good doctor, and I am a patient he's concerned about. This is a real thing. You just have to find them. You can't tell me that someone went into medicine to be rude. No, you wanted to help. Let me find the one that wants to help. So you keep finding until you find them. You keep finding until you find them. You're going to find one, it's not going to be the one. You're going to find a second, it's not going to be. I don't care if you have to find 7 different doctors. Please keep going. There's only one you.
Mm.
Mm.
Woo.
Okay, Ash has taught me something
Right.
because I was switching doctors because I continuously called, and my doctor, who I love, and you don't hear me say that, who I actually love, bedside manner. You know, when I went to him after my mom passed, and he was able to look at me, he said, "No, this is not you," and was able to diagnose. I didn't have to say a word.
Oh, I love that.
And he moved to Mansfield, and I've been calling and calling, trying to get in to see him. And I finally got somebody. Well, he doesn't have an opening to December, and it was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm just go to somebody
But
else.
now you're going to do Ashley.
On the phone. Oh.
No, I'm going to send him an
No, you
email to
fixing to
my
say it. You
source.
finna say it like you said the first time. You finna do
I'm,
what?
Tell him.
I'm in the sin.
Yeah.
You finna say it.
Hey, Doc,
Yeah.
I followed you to Mansfield. If I'm willing to come to Mansfield for you, Doc, do you think you can fit me in? I just want to
Right.
ask.
Ooh,
And they're going to say yes or no.
all the
Yeah.
gems. Look,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let y'all rest because this is just this is what I'm saying, like the documentary. This is episode 1. Listen to us from the documentary I've Been Waiting by E.J. Johnson. Stay tuned for all of the other segments because you all are such amazing teachers, amazing women. You're gonna help so many people. Y'all just help me. I'm about to be brand new at the doctor. They're gonna be like, where are you? Like, I talked to Ashley and Tonya, and I got a new attitude. I'm gonna have my little notebook. I'm like, I'll put my finger up.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
gonna
it's
tip
good
out.
it's so good to be able to talk to other people about this because sometimes it does feel like it's just you, you know? But like me and Tanya's stories are so similar, you know, and it's good to find community. So I'm so super happy to have had this conversation with y'all.
I'm super
Yeah.
happy. Thank you so much, Tonya. Thank you so much, Ashley. And thank you, everybody, for bearing witness to this panel. Please take the tips that you've heard and take care of yourself because as these beautiful ladies have already said, there's only one you. Thank you and have a good night, everybody. Bye.